Welcome back to Healthy Vibrations, a platform which brings together changemakers, trailblazers who can impact our youth in the most positive way. Thank you for being such a fan club of ours. We are very happy to be back, and today, very excited to bring to you Angela Legh, who's the author of the Bella Santini Chronicles, which gives children and their parents tools and techniques for emotional balance. So today's topic is going to be emotional balance for kids and conscious parenting techniques. So stay tuned because we have some major expertise coming up from an author of 9 books. She's based in New Mexico, and for over 50 years, Angela experienced abuse, bullying, and belittlement. And through that exposure, she developed methods of emotional management. She's also an international best-selling author with 9 published books. So don't miss out on this one. Hi, Angela. How are you doing today?
I am doing so well, thank you.
Lovely to have you. Thank you for taking out the time to be with us today. I'm sure our audience are going to love you.
Oh, I really hope that the audience finds real value in the conversation that we have today.
Absolutely. Emotional balance is such an important topic to talk about. And I just did a video on it like 2 minutes ago, which said you need to balance your own emotions to create emotionally balanced children.
And that's so true because children follow the behavior of parents more than they listen. And so you could talk all day long to your child about emotional balance, but the minute you have a fit of frustration, they're going to follow that behavior.
Yes, I always tell every parent my famous line, don't worry that your child is not listening to you, worry that they're watching you.
Yeah,
So yes, I
absolutely.
am in 100% agreement with that one.
Yeah.
So Angela, we have shared your history a little bit. Tell us, I remember you telling me that your father was an alcoholic. How did that impact you as a child?
Oh, well, my father was a very sensitive man. I didn't know this, but my aunt told me later on. And he was a sensitive child. So he grew up being told, be a man, and being basically pushed down because of his sensitive nature, his caring. And what that effect had on him was that he chose alcohol to numb the feelings of not being what his father wanted him to be. But when he was drunk, he was abusive. And so what that taught me was I wasn't of value. I deserved to be treated poorly. And that followed me into my adulthood. So,
And
yeah,
now, how old were you when this abuse happened to you? How many years?
it was between, well, pre-birth because he was emotionally abusive of my mom. And so in utero, I was exposed to that kind of behavior. And then until 10 years old, when my mother got sick of having her kids call her at work reporting the abuse of her husband. So then she finally said, I can't do this anymore. It's easier for me to raise 4 kids on my own with no help than to have to deal with what he's doing.
Now, I often hear from a lot of children, a lot of youth, when their parents are in a bad marriage or they're going through a divorce, they tend to blame themselves for the bad
Oh,
marriage or for the abuse. So, why don't you share with us? Um, did you do that? And if yes, what made you do that? What were you going through?
and actually for me, it was like freedom. It was, I don't have to experience this anymore. And so I didn't see the divorce as a bad thing. But I know children internalize and they will see themselves as the cause of any conflict between their parents. And so it's important for parents to understand that. and give children the message that we're adults, we have this conflict, and it's our problem, has nothing to do with you or who you are, and just reassure the children in that way.
And did you ever manage? How do you think the children can overcome this feeling of self blame that they're responsible for fixing their parents' marriage and they're responsible for that the parents' marriage is not working? How do they get over this emotion?
It really starts with self responsibility. So when the parents model self responsibility to their children, the children understand that, hey, I'm not responsible for that. I'm responsible for me. And also, it's very important in the messaging. My friend Rosalind Sadaka is someone who deals with divorcing parents and helps them to create a situation where the kids are strong through the divorce. And so, I would recommend people
Oh, I love
listen to
Rosalind. I
her.
absolutely love Rosalind Sadaka. Rosalind is, we just did a workshop together on supporting teens through divorce and co parenting challenges. So,
Beautiful.
yes, Rosalind is absolutely amazing, no question about it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, you also mentioned to me that um, from this abuse, then you landed into getting into a marriage
Mm.
who's to, may I take your husband's name? Is that okay?
Yeah, his name was Jeff. Yeah.
Jeff. And Jeff, whose go to emotion was anger. You
Hmm.
got married to him. Now, how did you handle that? And why did you get married to a man whose go to emotion was anger?
Mm. Well, I didn't realize that it was his go-to emotion until after 32 years of marriage.
Oh, Lord.
But, um, when I was 19, 20 years old, I was looking for a relationship with someone I saw as emotionally stable. And I thought that that's what he was, but I was young, so I didn't realize the red flags. Um, I, when I was very young, I made the decision that anger was something no one should have to feel. And so I judged myself and everyone else who exhibited anger. And I didn't understand that anger is an emotion, and all emotions are actually good. We just need to allow ourselves to express them in positive ways. And so, um, I had been exposed to anger expressed in rage, and that is not a positive expression of anger. So, as a very young child, I decided that anger was not good. And when my ex husband started exhibiting anger, I judged him for that. And I saw him as bad for doing that. And he could feel my judgment. Even though I never came out and expressed it, he could still feel that energy from me. So that would make him more angry. So it was this very toxic relationship, um, where both of us brought something to the table.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, I'm a strong believer and a big proponent of sorting out your issues with your parents because I strongly believe that if you don't have a solid foundation, it impacts your relationships as you get into
Absolutely.
adulthood. I think we all know that, right? Now, do you think that because your relationship with your father was strained, it took you into a relationship with Jeff because you were looking for something similar or some bit of security from a man who looked something like your father?
I think that on a subconscious level, yes. On a conscious level, I thought that I was choosing an upstanding businessman who, yeah. Um, subconsciously, I'm sure I was trying to fix the father relationship. And
Yes.
so I also believe that on an energetic level, if we don't heal those internal wounds, then we attract the same energy.
Yes.
And it's like another opportunity for us to heal that inner wounding.
And we will continue to attract the same energy in different forms until we
Until
heal the wound completely.
Absolutely. And even though I had gone post marriage, I had gone through several different healing modalities and shadow work and did all these things to heal, I still attracted someone with that same energy cycle into my life for a couple of weeks until I said, yeah, no, I deserve better than this. I'm sorry, you have to go. So
So this is
it,
all generational trauma, I would imagine.
it's very much generational trauma. Absolutely.
Now, when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned something about a wildfire which changed your life. Tell us about it.
So, as I mentioned, I was married for 32 years in a very toxic relationship. And that doesn't mean that there wasn't love, and it doesn't mean that weren't good times. It's just that overall the environment was not conducive to growth for either one of us. And I felt stuck. I really did. I felt stuck in that relationship. I am a empath. I'm a clairsentient, and I can feel the pain of others. And so I knew that my leaving would hurt him. And I didn't feel like I could be responsible for hurting someone else. So what I didn't realize in that thought process, I had not included myself. And so, staying was hurting myself, leaving would hurt him. And it wasn't until the wildfire that destroyed everything and the whole rug of life was pulled out from under us that's when I started questioning, am I living the life that I want to live? Do I want to do this for the next 50 years? And I was like, oh my God, no. So that's when I had to make the decision. Do I choose my needs over someone else's? And I did. I made that decision. And for women especially, it's a very hard decision to make because we're programmed to put other people's needs first. And that was really tough, but I did it.
Yes, I so agree. It's part of it is cultural, part of it is the fact that we're women, and that's
Yeah.
what we're taught. And part of it is we have heard this over the years and seen this over the years through generations, so that's how we program our mind. And we're not important.
Absolutely. Yeah, we
We're here
watched
to
the
serve.
modeling too.
Of course. We're here to serve. We're here to take care of our husbands, our children, our wives. It's a very sad thing, but we take sacrifice to another level. So
We do.
yes. I
Absolutely.
hear you.
And
I hear
and
you.
and when you're like you and I, we both have hearts to give to others. But if you think of giving as a teacup, unless that cup is full and overflowing, you should never give. And so you give from the overflow in the saucer rather than what's in the cup. And women are not taught this. Girls are not taught this. You have to fill yourself before you can truly give.
Correct. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
In our culture, we were taught that taking care of yourself is selfish. And
Yeah.
so it's taken me years and years to change that dialogue, and I've changed it with my son, I've changed it with all the youth that I coach. And
Mm,
my primary form of coaching is self-love, is practicing self-love, which
beautiful.
today in today's world is very cliched, and we take it to massages and nails and stuff. And my I
Ah,
teach youth how to really break down self-love and not take it to massages and
right. Let's
and
talk about self
nails.
love in terms of how you talk to yourself, how you think about yourself, and what, that self criticism, and whether or not you give any credence to that self criticism. I heard someone recently say, my inner critic can have a voice, but not a vote. And I thought that
That's
was
a good one.
brilliant.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I take it to, I always say, how well are you able to assert yourself? How well are you
Mm,
able to create boundaries? What are
yeah.
you telling not only yourselves, but what are you telling the world around you? I recently realized that so many of us struggle to self-advocate, to go outside and say how good we are at. I did an elevator pitch. I did my elevator pitch, and I'm like, geez, I'm really bad at it. I need to get better at this. So yes, I totally agree with you. So the
Well, yeah,
wildfire did you some good. Sorry, go
there's
ahead.
always growth that we can do no matter
Yes.
where we are. And I just I want every child to have self-love. And even though I don't really promote that as what my book, I talk about the emotional intelligence aspect of my book, but it's really about self-love. It's really about seeing yourself as the person who can do, as the person who is capable.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, have you heard of Louise Hay?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know what? Whenever somebody comes to me and says, my knee is hurting, my mom specifically, my knee is hurting or my elbow is hurting, I always open my book and say, okay, this is the affirmation. This is why it's hurting. This is the emotion that is stuck in your body. So, with that, I'm going to ask you questions. How
Okay.
do emotions feed into illness, alcoholism, drug abuse, suicide?
Yeah.
That's
So,
such a vast topic, and we can go on and on about it because I'm super passionate about this. I don't take medication, and I strongly feel that every emotion that is stuck in your body comes out in all of these things. So, yes, please.
absolutely. Yeah. If you read the work of Alice Miller, and her books are The Gift of the Drama, the Drama of the Gifted Child, I think, and then The Body Never Lies, and that one is such a testament to how emotions create disease and issues. And those stuck emotions, we think, when our parents told us don't cry, or they told us, you know just repress those feelings in one way or another, we didn't know that that is burying that emotion within, and it becomes a mountain. So every time we repress and suborn an emotion, it's stuck in our body. And if we do not allow those feelings to come out, if we do not express them, then they create cellular changes. Alice Miller makes a great case that emotions either go inward, attack inward, or attack outward. So the people who can't conceive of harming another person, their emotions are going to attack inward and do self harm. When people who are less empathic and they will attack outward, like my former husband, then they're expressing emotion, but it's in a way that is harmful to them and to the other people around them. And so it's really critical for children to learn ways to express difficult emotions in in ways that doesn't harm them or the people around.
Yes, and we
Yeah.
are so good as human beings. We are so good at numbing our emotions through drug abuse and alcoholism, and all of that. Good. And in the yoga world, we don't say disease; we say dis-ease.
Ease. Yes.
We divide it into two words, and it's dis-ease, which is
And it's
so
so
true,
true. And,
right?
it's like people who do self harming, cutting, are doing it to relieve the pain of their emotions. And when we can teach children that you don't have to escape emotions, you're strong, you can face them. And when you use, I have a tool that's called focused attention. When you put your focused attention on an emotion, meaning you're feeling it, you're naming it, and then you're giving yourself permission to feel it. When you do those things, the emotion is allowed to flow, and in about 90 seconds, it'll be gone. No one tells us this. We spend our lives numbing emotions, but if we just face it for 90 seconds, it'll be gone.
Thank you, Angela. And I'm going to highlight that point for everybody who's listening. You need to face your emotions for 90 seconds. And after 90 seconds, if you can stay in that uncomfortable position, that emotion will pass. Thank you, Angela, for making that
Yes.
point.
But the key to it is the disengagement of the mind, because by putting your focus so deeply on the emotion, your mind is stopped from thinking of the circumstances. When your mind returns to the circumstances, it might bring up the emotion again. But as long as you continually do the focused attention, that will eventually move through the emotion.
So you have to disengage your mind from that emotion and focus on something else.
Yeah, well, you're focusing on the feeling, which is keeping your mind so engaged in the feeling that it can't be thinking of why you got there or what somebody said or how you hate what's going on. It's just focused on the emotion.
Okay, thank you. So that was so well articulated. Um, so why children, Angela? Why children and their emotions? Why are all your books about um, children? You've written 9 books, and are all of them best-selling author? Are you a best-selling author for all of them?
I'm an international best-selling author
Ooh, I like
in
that.
some of them, not all of them, but my 3 children's books are the ones that are really focused on children. And the reason why is I believe that the children born now, are the ones who are going to create heaven on earth, as long as we give them the tools they need to get through their teen years. And so I'm like, yeah, I want them to build heaven on earth, and I want to give them the tools.
Thank you, Angela. You're so correct about that. People ask me, why is your company called Gen Z and you? Why do you coach Generation Z? Well, these are the leaders of tomorrow. These are
They
the
are.
people, as Angela said, these are the people who are going to create heaven on earth. So we need to invest our emotions, invest our time, invest our expertise in coaching and talking to these children who are going to lead the world tomorrow. And they're completely different than the earlier generations. So yes.
Oh yeah, very much. Yeah. And there's a lot of ADHD, there's the numbers on ADHD have gone up, the numbers on autism have gone up. What these kids are highly sensitive beings of light that are coming into earth, and they're bringing gifts. We need to give them the tools so that they can thrive.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much. So, all your books are on children, right?
No, actually,
Okay, sorry about
many,
that.
yeah, no, it's okay. The 6 of my books are compilation books, so they're anthologies, And I write for adults in those. And it's, about dealing with your emotions mostly.
Okay, so all of them are centered around emotions.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But the demographic is different.
Yes. My mission, my heart is in my children's books. Everything else I don't care about. But my children's books, I really want to get into the hands of kids so that they can thrive.
Oh, thank you, Angela. Thank you. Thank you for investing so much time in today's generation and writing all those books. 9 books. Wow. I'm just an author of 1. I've just started. I don't even know if I get to 9. So more power to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us today and listening to our show. Again, Angela is the author of the Bella Santini Chronicles, which gives children and their parents tools and techniques for emotional balance. So look out for her. She's got 9 books. Google her. She will be everywhere. And Angela, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, for taking the time to come on our show. I'm sure our children and our parents learned a lot from you about emotional balance and about the 90 seconds specifically on how you can let the emotion pass. And thank you for sharing your story with us. It was wonderful to have you. And we do hope to have you on our show back again soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.